YouTube viewers. Good morning, Instagram viewers. Good morning, Facebook viewers. Today's topic is kind of deceiving. Today's topic is get over slavery. And the reason that this is the topic for today is because of comments that a person named, he was an advisor to the president. His name is Jared Kushner. And he made a comment that says, that black people don't want to succeed, that they don't want, they're happy with their work, their place in life, and that, no matter what we give to them, it basically like we're lazy. We don't want things. We want things handed to us. So there's something that I wrote, and I wanna share this, and I also want the viewers to share this message also, because this message is not to say that every person out there who is white is racist. That's untrue, and that's not a fact. It's not to say not to have love for people of different races. I'm not saying that. What this is about, but what this story or poem is about is an easier way to allow people of color, such as myself, who have to live through a comment that's made like that. Let me fill you in on what your history is. So, in 1969, back that up. In 1619, you enslaved us. You murdered our children. You raped our women. Yet, still, we stand. 1921, in Tulsa, after slavery, we built an economy, a society, a culture. You came in and you handed guns to anyone who could shoot. And you massacred us and burned down our economic structure in which we were trying to build. Yet still, we stand. In 1935, you began welfare with no intent to allow black men to thrive. In 1968, you signed the Housing Act, tearing down the homes in which we have built, the neighborhoods in which we had developed, building and replacing concrete jungles. Yet still, we stand. In 1968, we asked to share your schools, buy homes, and to work side by side with you. Yet with our schools, you met our children with dogs. You burned down our homes for those who could afford to own them. In 1970, you gave us no jobs. You separated black men from their families, unable to raise their children. Yet still, we stand. In 1980, you shipped drugs into our neighborhoods. You put liquor stores on every corner. When you realized that we stopped doing the drugs and started selling the drugs to your children, you built more prisons. Yet still, we stand. Let's talk about present day and our youth. You put guns in our community. You call us lazy. You propagandize a false narrative of a people and what we stand for as a black people. Yet still we stand. So, we stand. And now you understand, for the viewers, why I always say we're still standing. Because we have to stand. Education and knowledge is the key to know what programs were implemented to hold you back and to oppress you. And those programs are still running now. Thank you, Jared Kushner, for pointing that out to us. That these programs are here in your face. As a black people that I'm speaking to on this video, it's in your face. What are you going to do about it? So now, I'm going to give you what my point of view is and how we do something about this and not allow this narrative to keep on being pushed on and on and on through generation, because we're much more than that. So, unification is key. But I'm going to explain that unification. I just put that word out there, but I'm going to, at the end, we're going to find out how unification applies and why it's people within their own black community who are doing more oppressing than the people that's writing a check for them. We have to create something that is not something that we're receiving funding for. And what I say about this is, like, I get views from this. I also had advertisers come to say, hey, join us, we'll give you advertisement, we'll give you this, we'll bring your channel to another level. And I refuse it. I refuse it. So this is why you'll see so many videos of people that are out there where they have, they'll show a different side of how we are. And I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to be me, and I'm going to do what I have to do to represent myself as a true stand-up black man and not compromise and not sit back and say, hey, you can take me to another level if I just calm down and change my message. No. Now you understand. Music industry, films, all of these things where they use us as these puppets. We have to stop that. And if we complain about what's going on with our youth and the shootings, number one, your kid, my kid, didn't go into a gun store to buy these guns. We didn't go down into the South, into places like Texas where they hold these big gun shows and buy a carload of guns and come back and sell them. Who's selling them to your kids? So think about this. And, ignoring a situation and saying to yourself, oh, that's just the way things are, we agree with it. That's an agreement to black people being killed, because we don't do anything until death is at our door. We have to start doing something now. We have to start doing something for our children. And speaking of children, imagine this, but this is the truth. You got a can of Coca-Cola in your hand. Now this is a baby bottle, and it's filled with Similac. It's filled with different types of baby formula. If you look at the can, it says, oh no, we're not giving, this is all natural. We're giving your children, your babies, all natural stuff. And this is where it crosses colors. It crosses races, because they don't care. At the end of the day, it's $1 in their pocket. So if you take that same can of Coca-Cola that you're holding in front of you, now you go to 1/3 of that can, which is probably going to be about that much off of a can of Coca-Cola that is this big. That's all sugar, this right here. Sugar, pure, unadulterated sugar, feeding it to your child. And there's issues that come from that. there's diseases, there's all kinds of complications that comes for that. So if we don't open up our eyes to the world that we live in, we stop allowing media and everyone else and politicians and religious leaders to dictate our reality, then we're at fault. It's not them, it's us. Because at what point do we stop to say, hey, I'm tired of being disrespected. I'm tired of them looking at me as I'm lazy. I'm tired of looking at them like I'm uneducated. And it's also a reason why people like me are always by ourselves. Because the intelligence and the knowledge that I have is based on why we are where we are. So if someone comes to me and makes a statement, like that Jared Kush statement, where if they only want to do something, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to be successful. They don't want to advance. I'll run your history on you. I'll tell you where your history came from and how you came into the wealth that you came into. So that makes me something that's unique. And I'll tell you the crazy irony of it. I've been offered more money than like people that I talk to. I've been offered some of the best jobs because of how I am. And I'm constantly told, you're different. The reason I'm different is not because I'm different than you. The reason I'm different is because I know who I am. And this is what we have to do. We have to know who we are. And knowing who we are is knowing our past. And it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's the fault of the system that we're under, because they're not going to teach your kids this in school. They're not going to teach your children that the wealthiest man in history is the wealthiest man in history. If you take the wealth that all the people right now, the wealthiest people that you know of right now at this point, and take their wealth and put it into all together, they never reach the wealth that this man had. And this man is your king, King Mansa Musa. King Mansa Musa is where Solomon got his gold from. King Mansa Musa walked across the land, the earth, and was handing out nuggets of gold that were so big that he'd go down in history as the wealthiest king. And this is your king, but you don't know anything about him because they're not going to teach you about him. So if we want to fight this battle where we want to sit back and we want to say, hey, I'm going to be mad about this. I'm going to, let's go and let's do something about this. Know why you're doing what you're doing. But if you know if you become knowledgeable in our history and understanding how these things came to be, we'd be untouched, and we'd have a different economy with us. And we'd be like those people in Tulsa where they built an economy and they began Black Wall Street. So it's not that we didn't want these things. These things are systematically, constantly being taken away. And for every stride that we take, there's either a drug, the kids stopped doing drugs, they started selling drugs to everybody else, so, prisons for that. So now how do we wipe out their population? We tried drugs, so give them guns. Let them kill one another. And let's play gangster videos. Let's play Hoochie Mama videos. And let's play Why You Mad At and all this other stuff. We got to stop. But I want to go as far as saying that we have to get rid of these black pit bulls. I said that in an earlier video, black people and pit bulls. The leaders that they have right now leading us, they've admitted that they work for the government. So they're, come on, man, and they're wealthy. And anytime something happens with you, who do they go and call? Puppets. New leaders means change. New leaders means change. So stay stuck in your ways, and then you'll hear things like of what Jared Kush said, or you'll hear things of what the next person said. And then we say, oh, well, where did that come from? We got to do, no. Start with us. Start with us, and it changes. And ending, And ending this, because I want you to share this with as many people as you can, because that's the response to what Jared Kush said, not or what a Kushner, whatever, what he said. But I want to end with Martin Luther King's words, because that causes a little bit of damage to us also. Martin Luther King wrote this, 1955. We want to love our enemies. We want to be good to them. This is what we, meaning black people, must do to meet the hate with love. No matter what they do to us. No matter what they do to us. That kind of makes me get a little emotional on that. So, if I'm feeling that way, hopefully you, the viewer, you're feeling that way. Because what they're doing to you is still being done. He said that in 1955. And if that don't wake you up, and if the comment from Jared Kushner doesn't wake you up, you'll never be awake. And when you ignore things, you allow things to happen. When you say to yourself, I'm not, as long as it don't happen to my family, I'm not going to do nothing, it's going to continue to happen. But it's happening to the people down the street. It's happening to the people who live on the other side of the United States, or the other side of the country, or wherever oppression is towards a people. So I just wanted a response, because like I said, when people make responses like that, come get me. Come get me who can tell you what's really, really going down. But when people stand there and they allow things to happen, like even the former President Obama, he understands that history, but he got up in front of the people in Florida and never once said the words that I'm saying to you right now. He said, oh, well, obviously you didn't read a book. No, why don't you tell the people what's in that book, Obama? You read it. And that's what I'm talking about. Don't go halfway, go all the way. So therefore, unless we are willing to go all the way, then we can expect more of the same. More of the same. No matter who's in office. All it is just things to calm things down. So, with that, I want to say, I'm thankful that you allowed me to come in this morning and bring a part of your history to you. I wish that, there can be more uplifting things. But as we're seeing, as we're coming closer to this time period, we're seeing that, these things, people are really coming out their shells. And people are really letting you know how they think and how they feel. But for anyone to say to you as a black man, a black woman, or a black child, or a black youth, that you don't want better in your life, know the answer, know the response. And the response should always be run their history right back at them. And don't start here in the United States, because all that says is what you're saying to them, you learned in school here, and we already control the Board of Education. Go back to where they came from and know about what happened in their lands to bring them here. Because those people weren't even allowed to stay in their own land. This is why they came here. So know why they came here, know what their intentions were when they came here, and see how those intentions have never changed. So you're always going to be a target, you're always going to be profiled, and unless we turn around and we create something different, we can expect more of the same. So with that, I want to say to everybody, have an awesome day, have an awesome morning. Oh, let me leave you with this. When I recorded the first video, the earlier video, where I'm always up in those mountains, I was at those mountains, and there was a guy, he had his dog loose, running around. So the dog and him were nowhere near where I was. But because I was sitting there recording, he wanted to come over just to see what it is I was doing. Could care less what it was that I was doing, just to say, I got to find out what this guy is. And that's what we face a lot with. So when people are sitting there and they're trying to meet you and trying to befriend you and all this and get to know who you are, know what it is that they're really, what their real intention is. Not saying everybody, but most. So, because I was there with a friend of mine, I said, you know, my friend, a lot of people don't like dogs. They get nervous around dogs, you know, and there's some of them are scared of dogs. So I knew this about my friend because he had made a comment before, you know, about a dog. So I asked the owner, I said, can you put your dog on a leash? In Connecticut, it's a state law. Ignored me. Ignored me. So I said, let your dog come over here. Let your dog come next to me. Now all of a sudden this guy, oh, you don't have no respect. You know, you know, who do you think you are, and everything else. Regardless, so I can break the law because the dog is supposed to be on a leash, and I can tell you to have respect and bow down to my dog because of who I am. So you mean that dog has more value than me, than my life, or the person that, you know, we were hanging out and, you know, this person is afraid, and 9 times out of 10, if a dog senses fear, he attacks or bites, even if it's the most friendliest dog. So this man basically said that the dog is more important to me, and this is today. Not more, just more important to me, more important to me, and also the person that we were up at that mountain doing the morning walk. So know where you are. Know that this, you know, there is no getting over it. The only person that can get over it is the ones who ignore it. So I want to leave you with that. You know, strengthen yourself, and let this, the poem that I wrote, let that be your battle cry. Because in that poem, I tell you from slavery all the way up into the present day of what is being done to you systematically, and it will never change. It will only get worse. So if we want to get over it, get past it, then expect more of the same. And with that, I want to say, everybody, be strong. We still standing. That's what that poem is. We still standing, yet we stand. With that, I want to say have an awesome day. And not people, all people can be good, people can be bad. This video is for those bad people. Those bad people just happen to be in positions to hurt us. So show love where people are giving you love, and for the people that's not giving you love, run, you know, be willing to, you know, give them a taste of their own medicine. You know, let them know where they came from. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, if you get put out of your own country, then your own country isn't agreeing with what the intentions of what you had in store. So, with that, I want to say, everybody, have an awesome day. And with that, I want to say peace and blessings.